Well, hello there. Finally, the delivery I've been waiting for from Banggood. I ordered something on the 1st of December. Today is the 18th of January and it's finally turned up. I think this is the replacement one because Banggood basically said, yeah, okay, we agree it's lost, and sent me a new one. What am I talking about? I'm talking about making my indoor racer. When I met up with the guys before, I tried flying this heavy QX80 and it didn't do very well. And they were kind enough to print me out a few of these Gnat frames made out of ABS here, which I've been waiting for the parts to come forever before I built it. Now they're all finally here. I thought I'd show you what I've got, what I'm going to put together, and then we'll see how it goes. So obviously the Gnat frame, this is available on Thingiverse, I'll have a link, and it comes with these little things that go on the bottom to help hold the motors on. Motor wise, we've got the Chaoli again. These are the 7x20 motors. So to put it in perspective, the tiny whoop style was 6x15. The larger ready to fly ones like this are 8 by something, 8x30 maybe, 8x20 something. So this is the middle part which no one seems to use, which the guys have told me this is the way to go. We've then got the actual flight controller. This is called an Eachine, I'm just reading it, SKYkylin. It's another F3 controller for brushed motors with the little sockets to put the motor connectors in, and it has once again an inbuilt tiny FrSky receiver. So it's basically that plus the motors equals it's ready to go. It's just crazy. I've got these 300 milliamp nanotech 1 cells, which I'm hoping are going to be pretty good. These natty tiny little 3-bladed props, which looks so cool on these tiny little quads. Camera wise, I've actually got the Eachine TX03 to go on there, which I showed you a couple of days ago. I'm actually going to take this little 25mm camera off the QX80 and put the TX02 on there, which is just a 200mm one, because as you know, this is my world record quad, so trying to get it to go a bigger distance using bigger milliwatt. But I'm going to save the TX03 for other things because this new quad's only ever going to need 25mm. Yeah, and that's it. Let's put it together and see how it flies. Fingers are crossed that it's going to be good, and hopefully if I can get it together by the weekend I can go see the guys and we can have a race round. Well, hello again. We've done it. It is built. And it looks like this. It was a very quick build. Most time consuming thing was just sticking those bottom bits on there. Yeah, and flashing Betaflight 301 onto the board because it wouldn't respond for a while for whatever reasons, I don't know, but it's okay now. I did make a massive cock up and managed to put every single motor the wrong way. So I had clockwise running anti-clockwise, which should have been, so I had to change those all around, which took a bit longer. But yeah, this is it. Now, proportionally, here's the LT105. Quite similar. It's a little bit smaller, but what you will notice is that aside from the motors being different, 8.5 versus 7, they look really quite different. The 8.5s look really chunky. Have a look as well as the props. How big the props are on the LT105 versus these things. And I've taken it for a test hover, and it is whisper quiet, which I really do like. And it's got quite a bit of punch, because this with the 300mAh battery weighs about as much as this without a battery. I thought I'd also put that in proportion with the E101. See, quite a bit bigger, although again prop size bigger but not huge. In my test hover, this little 300mAh 1S nanotech got just under 4 minutes, so I'm guessing for sort of normal flying it's more like 2 to 3. But I wanted to show it like this now because I need to take it for an FPV test before I meet up with the guys tomorrow, hopefully, to have a race around. But there's all that likelihood about crashing or breaking something, so I'll show it now. Here, it looks like this. Now let's see if we can get some footage in here. So as it turned out, I didn't have a chance to FPV it at home, even looking through the camera just to make sure it was working. So I had to do the FPV test at the actual hall here, and as you can see, it's a little bit timid and a little bit all over the place to start with. I found to start with that it wasn't quite reacting the same way as I expected the Quad 2 because of the size and weight. It feels to me like it didn't need as much on the roll stick as a regular quad would, so there's a little bit more yawing than you might expect. But it only took a few minutes to sort of get used to it, and eventually we had a couple of mass starts. Mass starts are a little bit of a problem because everybody, especially me, gets a little bit overexcited and generally goes a bit wrong. You can see one of these from another angle and you can hear just the carnage of the clattering and general crashing going on. And here's another mass start that went horribly wrong. Fortunately, it's all about just having a laugh and having a good time. Nobody takes it too seriously. But eventually, I started to get it. Now here's my footage later in that first mass start when I'd managed to get myself sort of back together again. And I'm starting to get the hang of getting through these gates. And I know there's at least one other person on the track, so I'm trying to catch him or try and just see him somewhere. And you know, I'm still missing the odd gate, but it's getting better. Oh, what was that? He was over my head. I think that's Daryl in a little yellow Gnat. So he's behind me, and one thing I don't want to do is get caught. So I should explain. I've tried to give a flavour of what it's like flying. So these little intersplice bits showing the exterior shots aren't necessarily me because I couldn't move my camera around, but that's just a flavour of what was happening. But I think this is me, and that's Daryl giving me chase, so he's catching up. And there he is, there he was on the ground. Oh my god, he's going to get me. He's putting me under pressure now, and this is making me fly A, faster, but of course B, slightly more recklessly, but I think that's what it's all about. Uh-oh, but it's all come pants there. I've gone down. He's got in front of me. Now I'm chasing. I must catch him. This is it. This is white knuckles time back on my radio here, and I'm like, all right, come on, let's get the game face on. We've got to catch. This is what it's all about, having fun and getting some chase on. And I can't see him. Where is he? But at least I'm hitting all the gates right. Ah, there he is. He got in front of me. I must get back. I'm through. I'm in front. No, he's in front again. This is bad. I've got to get in front. I'm in front. Yay. Okay, let's boot it down the straight and see if we can actually get round. At this point, what's happened with my video, it's happened as well to Daryl's video. He's gone down there. I'm trying to get round. I think there must be someone with a similar VTX frequency, and I've gone down because I can't see what I'm doing. That was super fun. I eventually got to the situation where I felt I was at least a little bit competitive, which was brilliant. So if you're thinking, yeah, but these are so little and weak, surely they'll smash apart when you crash. Obviously, I wouldn't know because I never crash. Okay, well, maybe I crash sometimes. In fact, I crashed so often I started to believe that all the gates were completely magnetic and my little quad was drawn towards every single one. Smashed and smashed and smashed and smashed it, and nothing happened. A lot of the time it just bounced, but it was absolutely fine. Damage wise, and this is it after the event, what I've got is like a little white line on some of these props where they got a bit bent. These are all the original props though, and occasionally the battery fell out because it's just held on by a couple of rubber bands. But it just worked great. Now, taking comparison to the LT105, I took this as a spare, and I thought, oh, I'll take it just in case, and I ended up giving it a go. And what a difference! I mean, this thing flies great outside, but took it inside, and it was so difficult to try and get around the corners, and when it crashed it made an almighty horrible sickening thud noise. And I think it's all about power to weight ratio. This is super light, and it's got these little props that can spin up a lot quicker, and so you can throw it into corners, and because it's so light, have the power to come back out again. Whereas this, more powerful motors, you can throw it into the corners, but it just doesn't have the power versus its weight to be able to get out again. So everything's like, help, help. It's like it's dragging its back end along. So that's difference. So it seems to me that rather than having one micro to rule them all, there are specific builds for specific things you want to do. Your tiny whoop style, this is the E010 build I did, fantastic for indoors. You take it to something like a sports hall and you'll find out it feels very gutless. Suddenly it's very slow and you'll be falling asleep between gates. Indoors though, brilliant. Bounce off the walls, it hasn't got too much power, you can fly in acro mode. The Gnat frame, brilliant for the sports hall sort of thing. Really fast, really quite agile. It's just fantastic. Put it indoors and it feels a little bit wild. And if you were sort of having to tame it down or having to fly it in self-level, it kind of defeats the purpose. Which case, go back to this. Outdoors, it's very light, which means any gust of wind is going to waft it about a lot. Conversely, one of these RTF 8.5 mils, really good outdoors in a sort of big garden or, you know, an outdoor space generally where you can really throw this around and go crazy. Put it in a sports hall, it doesn't have the power for those really tight turns to come around. And indoors it feels again a little bit too wild and crazy. So you build your quads, you take your chances, but I'm loving this for indoor racing. It's just so simple. It's a completely sort of flat frame. These 7mm motors, just the perfect power to weight. And this board, I couldn't have dreamed of this. It's like 20 odd quid. You've got an F3 board which you can completely configure in Betaflight. It's got an inbuilt FrSky controller. One of these camera VTXs is 20 quid. The whole thing is really inexpensive to build, and it flies fantastic in the right settings, which at this point of view is sort of an indoor type hall. But for that it is brilliant, and if you're having that sort of facility, I heartily recommend building one of these. Obviously I'll have all the parts I used down in the description. And if you're not racing this sort of situation, perhaps you should. I mean, the guys did this by basically approaching their village hall and finding a time it wasn't being used and all putting in a little bit of money each and being able to rent it for a couple of hours every week. I'm going to try and go back as regularly as I can, because racing in real tight close quarters and not taking it too seriously is spot on for me. So yeah, the Gnat frame. Check it out. Catch you later.